The essence of this program is to create awareness on plastic waste. Many creeks in River State are struggling with toxicity of plastic junk. Now, if you take a boat ride along the Bonny Riverine, you will see the menace of plastic waste. As the world celebrates World Environment Day 2023 on the 5th of June, we are asking ourselves, what can we do on the issue of plastic waste here in River State? Of course, it's not a problem to River State alone. It is a global problem. Nigeria has its own share of it, but River State, something important needs to be done. And I have with me in the studio an environmentalist, is a scientist, is an environmental. Okay, he doesn't like the fact that I called him an environmentalist. But again, from the journalistic point of view, we see them as environmentalists and scientists. Dr. Christian Livingstone Otiasa is with us in the studio. He's a friend of the house, and he has always helped us in analysis and issues relating to environment conservation and issues relating to the environment and also environment management. Dr. Christian Otiasa, good to have you this morning.
Good morning, Pastor.
All right, so you're in disagreement on introducing you as an environmentalist, but I know that you're an environmental scientist.
No problem. I'm an environmental manager and
Okay.
a biogeographer.
A biogeographer.
Geographer.
Okay, a biogeographer, and that's quite interesting. So again, let us begin to look at the theme for this year's World Environment Day, which is on Monday, and the theme is focusing basically on the issue of plastic wastes, and it's looking at plastic wastes, the menace of plastic waste, and solution. How germane is this?
First, let me thank you for always giving me the opportunity to speak to Rivers people and Nigeria in general. Again, I must thank you for the selfless service you do for nature and for humanity. The World Environment Day, ab initio, is celebrated to be able to create awareness and mobilize or propel action towards environmental health. It is organized by the UN, and like you said, every 5th of June, every year. So over the years, different issues debilitating the environment have been looked at and brought out to human attention. Now, this year, the theme of the celebration is Beat Plastic, the plastic floatables. Floatables generally are things, they could be organic or inorganic things that float on the world river bodies. When we talk about river bodies, we talk about the river, the ocean, the lakes, the channels, even terrestrial channels and all that. And you will see in your intro, you have just reeled that a drive at the Bonny Creek will show you so many things about floatables, and you are observing, even as a non-environmental person, you're observing. You see, the topic is very germane for two reasons: for ecological reasons and for human health reasons. Now, like you said, floatables, generally plastics, are not peculiar to Nigeria or an African issue. It's a global problem. Plastics came into existence in the 18th century during the industrial era, the global industrial era. Then it grew in prominence until the 19th century, when it became a general problem and there was need. Attention was focused on it. That was when it was categorized as a pollutant, a world pollutant. And you know that the rivers are the greatest environmental sink. Many things, even things done terrestrially upstairs, are washed down during rainy season, during urban runoff, to the river. So now, why is it important for them to look at plastics? First, for the ecological reasons. Ecological reasons, I'm talking about reasons that affect the river, the marine or freshwater environment. Now, when floatables get to the marine or in the environment, you'll see that over time, as they float, they attract debris. Debris and other things, nutrient-enriching materials. Part of the quality of river or water is nutrients. But if the nutrients are over-enriched, it affects water quality. So this debris begin to attract nutrient-enriching debris, and the floatables begin to attract nutrient-enriching debris, and eventually affect river quality. Now, when water quality is affected, it will lead to water insecurity, both potable and non-potable. The non-potable for irrigation will be affected. Now, if irrigation is affected, obviously, there will be a consequential effect on food security. So look at that one as one. Now, when this debris, when these floatables, plastics get to the river, again, you see that over time, there are physicochemical actions, and there are also abiotic actions that combine to act on them. What are these abiotic actions? Abiotic are things that are not living. You see that temperature is acting on them. You will see that wave, as boats drive past, wave is acting on them. Mm-hmm. You see that river velocity, the speed at which river water moves, is acting on them. You will see that salinity, the salt content of that river, is acting on. Salinity can melt some plastics. Mm-hmm. It's acting on them. And fish eventually will come to be biting it. Over time, they break it into MPs. MPs is short form for microplastics, and they sink into the river. When they sink into the river, there is two particular things that happens. There is a downward travel, vertical downward travel, or sometimes straight travel. Now, when they sink, some will hang, suspend in the river column. Some will eventually get buried in the bottom sediment. Either way, fish will pick it up. Other aquatic species will pick it up. And when they pick it up, there is something we call food web, the food chain. The food you eat comes from a primary producer. The fish will eat will come from those poisons, haven't taken up those poisons. They pass it to us. We eat. And that, because man is at the apex of that food chain. Mm-hmm. That is where most of these our problems come from. And don't also forget, the world is crying for reduction of fossil fuel. Mm. These plastics are made from polymers. Polymers are products of hydrocarbons. Mm. So the more you produce plastics, the more you cannot reduce on the reduction of fossil fuel that has all the negatives for the carbon in the environment. So you see that plastics needed to be taken care of. Now, let me also tell you again, the ones that are buried in the sediments probably are called legacies, legacy pollutants. And because of the chemicals in these plastics, over time as they are buried, there is biomagnification, bioamplification, and all the accumulation. There are benthic fishes that eat them up. Then there is something we call biotubation, either bio or anthropotubation. Tubation is simple. When you board a plane, over time as you go into the troposphere, mm-hmm. there is a wave. Then you now say turbulent. Tubation is gotten from the word turbulent. Okay. So at the sediment level, there is a turbulence. When those turbulences are done by biological creatures, they are called biotubation.
Fantastic.
I'm coming. When they are done by human beings, through maybe exploration rigs and all those they are called anthropotubations. Now, what does tubation do? Tubation is able to either scavenge or exhume these legacy pollutants and resuspend them in the water columns for uptake by organisms and transported to man. And because of their origin, because of their organic origin of these plastics, when they are taken up to man, adverse health impact is done. Now, you'll see that you are likely to have what we call heightened oxidative stress. Oxidative stress just simply means in the body that the body has a way of generating oxygen over time. This oxygen, when they become excess, the body has a way of normalizing it. When there is an imbalance between what is produced and what is detoxified by the system, then you have heightened oxidative stress. Gastrointestinal issues, my belly dey pain, this, that, will come. Metabolic issues will come. And over time, you will see that you have, because of their origin, some will be cancerous, some will be mutagenic, some will be genotoxic. Cancerous simply means they can give cancer. Mutagenic means that it can cause birth deformities. Genotoxical just means that it can alter your DNA and so much. And again,
Fantastic.
it also has impact on the national economy. So when you look at all of this, there is need for attention to be paid.
Dr. Christian, we quite appreciate you taking us through the sublime dangers of this plastic solution, and it's a very, very important one. But again, you see, our concern on the show this morning, which we hope to try to achieve, one, is to educate, and secondly, what is our deliberate plan to ensure that we eradicate this pollution? For example, I just talked about a drive to the Bonny River. Even if you go through the Woji River, if you go through the Aboloma Jetty, you will see the huge menace of plastic solution on all of our river is very, very visible to all. And again, I'll recall that in 2019, the House of Representatives passed a bill banning plastic in Nigeria, production of plastic, and prohibit the importation of plastic, a whole lot of laws surrounding that. So let us begin to look at deliberate steps.
Yeah.
Are we deliberate? First, United Nations is drawing our attention to this very critical danger of plastic pollutants. It is not new to River State alone. It is a global problem. It's a Nigerian problem. But again, in some places, we have seen deliberate steps. Some state governments have embarked on a situation whereby they can convert this plastic to wealth. Even here in River State, I know that some multinationals are also working on that. Again, how conscious are we about all of that?
Okay, Pastor Shugu, I will get to the solutions as we wind down, but allow me small space to do it.
Please.
Because it will help me to talk about the solution. What I just reeled out are the ecological impact of plastics. In the human sense, just one. You know that our rivers are important for tourism, for recreation, and for spiritualism. When the aesthetics of the rivers is affected, it impacts negatively on all of this thing. Now, let me also say to you, a people's valuation of their environment, their urbanization, their industrialization, their waste disposal, their choices of consumption, their habits, their attitudes, and their behaviors either exacerbates this plastic production or plastic pollution. Now, as to deliberate actions, you will note that Nigeria is not bad on anything for lack of laws. Nigeria is challenged by stringent in the implementation of laws. That is where, particularly in the hydrocarbon industry, that is why we say if America must be clean, then Nigeria has to be dirty. That is the pollution haven hypothesis, Now, one of the things we need to do first, most of these plastics are not produced. There is no plastic that is produced inside a river. It is terrestrially produced and used, then washed into the river. So first, if you want to control anything, you avoid it. Ordinarily, avoidance is the best control for anything. And that is why the law is a prohibitive law. The law you just cited is a prohibitive law, and abolishing the production of plastics with better substitutes. But who is implementing it? Nobody is implementing it. So it's a tragedy. And in environmental circles, we say the river is a tragedy of the common. Nobody cares for it, Now, so if we must implement it, then it will stop the continuous production of plastics, particularly single-use plastics. Single-use, those ones that do not have value for reuse and reuse again. But if we cannot stop the production of them, let's substitute it. So I will suggest the 3 R's. The 3 R's. Refuse, reduce, or reuse. Now, the reuse has an aspect of it. You just talked to a labor man who has been setting an agenda for the incoming governor. Rivers State ranks about the second in terms of unemployment. Now, if we set a recycling plant of plastics alone, we'll be able to generate money for River State. We'll be able to generate employment for some people, a good number of people along the chain. Those who go and pick, you see that plastics will be naturally scarce on the streets. That adds to environmental cleanliness. Now, I keep hammering that some of our problems is that of planning. The urban and physical planning, the department or ministry should begin to plan our development such that our waste production, our waste evacuation system is done right. At the household level, we should begin to sort our waste into plastics and non-biodegradable waste. Plastics are not degradable. Now, what happens in Rivers State is that they dump all of them, the truck takes them and get into landfills. And don't forget, again, third one, Rivers State should not have these abnormal landfills. We should have well-engineered landfills. Now, in well-engineered landfills, the waste will be sorted and well-treated so that it doesn't necessarily get into the river environment. Our channels, our terrestrial channels, gutters, drains, should have traps. Traps, because it is through these channels that it flows into the rivers. So when you have traps, it will be able to trap it. In fact, it should be jealously done between neighbors. If you throw it there, I trap my own so that it doesn't come to my... And people should take responsibility to clear it them. Mm-hmm. That is also one.
But I'm very sorry, because when you say people should take responsibility for clearing them, whose responsibility should it be?
Environmental externality is not left for the government.
Okay.
But the government has a duty. By the polluter pay principle, the government has a duty to identify that person who is externalizing his who is dumping his environmental externalities on the government. You see the reason why? Government does not have any money. The money government has that you think is money for me and you. So me and you should not use our own money to clear the mess of another person. Mm-hmm. But the duty is the government. And that is why I was calling, but the calls were not picked. I was to suggest that beyond visiting the government, there's a nice thing that he has visited the secretariat. Beyond visiting it, because his predecessors also visited and made so much promises and nothing came out. Beyond all that they have catalogued, there are ministries whose work are field-based, and more of field-based. And those field-based ministries do not have even operational vehicles. There are issues of cadre payments mixed up. There are issues of archaic practices being implemented that need to be looked. The workers are not motivated because some are denied payment that their definition of what is environment in Rivers State is wrong. It's archaic, it's mundane. And if it's only when you get this definition that you see that there will be need to rejig ministries like the environment. So it needs to do so much to create these things. Now, when it is a duty of them to provide environmental agents everywhere to tax these things, and sometimes because government has some level of legitimacy, which I believe they have, I assume they have, they should be able to mobilize. I'm not talking of just the state and the local government should be able to mobilize as citizens to environmental sanitation. Before now, there is a department in the Ministry of Environment. They call them public health or some environmental health. Now, they go house to house to inspect whether there are waste bin, the cleanliness of the toilets, and all those kind of things. We should get it back. Because if you get hygiene right, health will be right. And when health is right, people do not spend time in hospital. It means that productivity will be high. It will be more money for the state. And people are busy. So ultimately, it also impacts on crime.
Yeah.
Crime will reduce. So it is primarily the duty of the government. The government, we have subletted our rights to the government in expectation that the government will be able to do certain things to protect our interests. It is the government that will do all these things. They could delegate it, but primarily they have to do it.
Fantastic. You're tuned to Point Blank, and I'm speaking to Dr. Christian Livingstone Ostias. I would prefer to be called an environmental manager. We're looking at the theme of the World Environment Day, which focuses on solution to the menace of plastic pollution in the world. Again, it's a global problem. And it's not a Nigerian problem alone. It's a problem for all over the world. But again, we're beginning to ask ourselves, knowing the menace of this plastic solution go through our rivers, what should we do? Again, are we even putting up the right step here in River State? Lagos, for example, there is a huge recycling plant in Lagos. I also know that we could work with some multinational. I think a particular multinational is trying to do something in that line. I don't know how correct it is. Maybe you are aware of that and you may just want to talk to us about that. So again, what steps should we begin to take in terms of deliberate policies? And that's what we're talking about. Well, primarily, the essence of this segment of Point Blank this morning is to educate, inform, and to create awareness on this menace of plastic solution and how, as individual Rivers person, we can begin to take action, and in our own small little way, we can begin to do something to correct this. Now, I'm just going to ask one or two questions, and we go to the telephone lines to see if we get one or two calls to allow us have unique contribution to this particular issue. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank. Good morning.
All right, I'll give you. Okay. Come back.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Oh, okay. I think that fellow is not ready there. But again, the telephone numbers to call again is 070-5079-1021, 081-174-31021, as well as 09039848244. Those are the three telephone lines you can call us up on. And again, if you want to join the discussion, you can send a short voice note on WhatsApp to 09059481021. Let me try this course now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Point Blank. Sorry, we lost that particular one. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, Point Blank.
Yeah, Mr. Zion, good morning.
Mr. Zion, thank you for joining us.
So I ever died in the studio. Good morning to you.
Zion, I agree to you.
I want to thank you for coming. You know, when you are analyzing, I was scared when you get to that pedestal point on how the airplane is also back in distributing this issue to our health concern. But I want to beg you for one thing, sir. If you can extend this your agitation to the point of let us get a forum, I think that is what we lack in this area. The Society for Environment. And I want you to say, hey, if this is an inaugural movement, I, Mr. Zion, I give myself to you for that movement. Because this is talking on this point, I will not taking action, presenting documentation, and seeing on to the approach quarters. I would think we have not and will not going to help our generation. Because all these things we are discussing today is our children, not us. Most of us, we are old, we are 50, we are 60, 70, we can even die today, no problem. But our children, they are the major issue. So God bless you, sir, Mr. Zion.
All right, Mr. Zion, thank you so much. And again, particularly for me, I'm going to take another call, but particularly for me, I was looking at a way of discussing this issue. And interestingly, the United Nations has made it a subject for the World Environment Day 2023. Some time ago, I took a trip to Bonny, and every time I go on that river to Bonny, I'm amazed at how unconcerned many of us are at the huge plastic pollution on that waterway. It has been something I was talking about. I've been thinking about that. What can we do there? But again, Dr. Tiasa Christian will be talking a little bit about that. Let me just take another call here. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank coming to you from Super 93.3 FM. Good morning.
Good morning, Shegun.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Christian Ostiasa.
Malga, good morning.
Happy World Environment Day. We've seen the plastics floatables. Thank you for coming. This gives us a ray of hope. Shegun, one thing I want to say, just like he has also said, please, you always call us environmentalists. We are, for me, I'm a field expert.
Okay.
An environmental manager. You know, when you say environmentalist, a lot of persons who have interests that are not necessarily professional in that field go by the name environmentalist.
Well, for me as a journalist, it doesn't make any difference.
No, there is. Okay. In terms of professionalism, in terms of, I think we need to be, you can't call me a journalist. I'm not. You know, I'm not. So please, I will plead that you try and see if you can differentiate it. Sometimes when you are addressing some of us that are interested in talking about environment.
All right, and that's noted. So let's come back to the issue.
So on the issue of plastics, the question is, what is the policy on plastic? River State government policy on plastics? We know there is a national law. Has that law been domesticated? What is the green book as regards to plastics management in River State? That is where we need to even start. Segun, the management of the inland waterways and the waterways are on the purview of the federal government, but the federal government has delegated the management to the states. So the pollution, the plastic pollution within the rivers and waterways around River State, it's the responsibility of the River State government. So what are they doing about it? What is the River State government policy on plastics? And I think that we don't have a strong one. If there is, then monitoring and evaluation in ensuring that these things are properly done should be in place. And I want to commend my colleague, my senior colleague, Chris.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Kui, for that particular interesting aspect of it. And we, again, let's come to the issue of tact and deliberate move to ensure we deal with this. And again, looking at the law, have we really domesticated the law? That's a very serious one. I'm going to take a voice note, and we'll come back talking more to Dr. Christian Otesa. Let's quickly take on this voice note. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank. Good morning.
Hello, Shegu, good morning. This is Fred Michael from Nkoro. I want to thank my brother over there, Tamuno Pupu, my Nkoro brother. This is Fred Michael from Nkoro. I want to greet him. I want to commend him.
Okay.
He's doing very, very well.
I think you're getting it wrong. Well, I don't know if Dr. Christian Otesa has bearing the name Tamuno Pupu, but again, your friend Michael, you need to get the issues correctly. Let's take another one here. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank coming to you from Super FM. Good morning.
And the guest. Well, what was expected is not what I saw. That the governor visited Secretariat is not enough.
The issue of the visit of the governor to Secretariat is something that we've left that. We're dealing with another issue, and I know it's a very interesting one, which we'll be talking about. But let's take this one. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Point Blank.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Prince Sodin, an advocate of the environment, sanitation marshals. I'm a bit worried.
Okay.
You know, because every year we celebrate the World Environment Day. Most often, environmentalists get engaged in issues that have to do with clean environment, how to recycle waste. Now it's on the plastic. My worry is this, and that is to all our environmentalists. What efforts are we putting in place? Because over time, as we keep saying, culture dies hard. And the rate of indiscriminate dumping of plastic here and there is like it has come to stay. Against all odds of constant advocacy, sensitization, and awareness, what are the environmentalists doing in the area of engaging government? Because this plastic can be converted as part of waste to wealth. Is it not time looking at the volume of plastic generated every day, every week, especially in Port Harcourt, and then, of course, in Nigeria, for the industrialists to come and see how they can utilize it? It's a very big asset. So we have a new government now. The policies are there in terms of waste evacuation, waste management, etc. What role is the private sector playing, and what role are environmentalists playing in engaging critical stakeholders so that we can use this waste we call and convert to waste, generate employment, generate income, wealth, and of course businesses? My concern this morning.
Thank you so much, Sidina Kegba. And let's take another one here. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Good morning, the very distinguished Pastor Shevlu Ola. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, and how are you? Good morning.
I'm doing great. Wishing you a very fantastic morning.
Okay.
I remain the very distinguished Temple Okiri.
Temple Okiri, good morning.
I think the very distinguished Pastor Shevlu, this issue of plastic is what I think that we as the people need to pay much, concentration on. because it is already causing a havoc to us as a people. The level of plastic in the drainage, in the waterways, blocking the waterways and all the rest of them, for me, is contributing to this unnecessary flood that we are seeing everywhere these days. Yes. But my major concern, when we talk about the government policy, that is quite different. But what does the law say in the aspect of this, plastic bottle management, the waste management itself, that it look as if the government are paying less attention to? Most importantly, I think the local government on their own part needs to do more, because those are the grassroots, those are the local government are being badly affected. But you look at it, the local government is not paying the much needed attention. But what they always tell us, they are trying to work with the governor, they are trying to reciprocate what the governor is doing. But when you look vividly, they are not doing anything in at least collaborating what the states are doing. For me, the local government to pay much attention to it. After all, what are they doing with the local government allocation? That is my point. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Plastic. Comrade Okere, thank you so much. Let me take another one. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Point Blank, good morning.
From Legusaya in Boroguni. My name is Akanto.
Akanto, good morning. Yes.
Good morning, our regular contributor on this radio. I think you are doing well, Christian. I'll call you Elder Christian, yes, sir. Good morning, sir. My suggestion is very simple, sir. I think we have in Rivers State, if the law has been domesticated. Yes, we have Rivers State Sanitation Management Board, or IMAWA, or Ministry of Environment. My submission this morning is that, like Christian Tiasa, who are environmental manager, not environmentalists, like other people will spring up European environmentalists. Let government bring them on board. It should head agencies that cares about the environment. Because if an expert is in charge of a particular field or a particular area, I think he can do well. In the Ministry of Environment, apart from politics or politicians, we should appoint experts like Mishak, like Dr. Christoph. Let him mount that particular ministry, so that at the end of the environment will be free of all this plastic rubber. If what I'm doing this morning, I'm removing rubber, plastic rubber. And again, industry should be sprinkled up in what they call a transformative layout, so that we can bring all this plastic into use. Because we will talk about industry. Where are the industry? The new government that are coming in play, led by Similar Fubara, to ensure that there should be more industry in Rivers State, so that this rubber, the plastic rubber, should be used.
Thank you so much. I apologize for, we have to cut each other, but again, I think you've made your point very succinctly, and we quite appreciate that. So again, Dr. Christian Otiasa, one of the things I did say that we would try to achieve on this show is to create that awareness, because it seems to me that people don't even have an understanding, and it looks as if we're overwhelmed or unprepared to manage this plastic waste we're having. And again, if people understand the dangers and opportunity, they realize that plastic waste can be a source of income, perhaps the situation will be a bit different. So one of the things we should create the awareness and begin to even advise government on policy. We have Governor Similai Fubara here. Can we deliberately come up with policies that we ensure, just like you talk about recycling of some of this plastic, particularly those of them that are recyclable. And again, what about those that will say, well, these ones are dangerous? How can we begin to mop them up? And you heard what Mishakuyi said there. It is the responsibility of government to mop up some of those things. So again, we just have about 5 minutes more to go. Yeah.
Yes, I'll try to take all of them in less than 3 minutes. First, let me thank all that I've called. I thank you immensely. The Nkumians, your contributions, they are most valuable. And critiquing is enough. I mean, it's essential for growth. So I appreciate all the calls. Rivers is our environment, and we must strive to maintain, preserve the environment, because preserving the environment is preserving ourselves. Having said that, I'll take them from no particular direction. Pastor Shegu, you have been doing, when I came, the first thing I did was to commend you. But there is you are elastic. There's a point to which you can go. I didn't pay for this program. I believe that corporate bodies, wealthy individuals, should sponsor programs like this, not only on World Environment Days. They can come together and sponsor have a collaboration with Super FM 93.3. Then sponsor, be it a weekly, I think Shell is doing something about that, in one of those programs. Other people, ELF, Tutul, and all that can come and sponsor a program on the environment so that at every point in time, because your reach is wide. So I think that, I'm not trying to advertise for Super FM, but it is necessary considering the service they are rendering to Mother Earth and humanity. That is number one. Number two, for Temple Okere, Akanto, I completely agree with you. Okay, before I come to Akanto, let me come to Temple Okere. Temple Okere suggested that plastics exacerbates urban flash flood. Completely correct, 100% correct, and I agree with you. And that's why I said the trapping of these plastics by neighbors should be done jealously. Now, Akanto suggested appointments, the appropriate persons being appointed. I've sang it like song in different fora I've been to. Lawyers are not environmental managers. We have gotten a culture of appointing lawyers as commissioners of environment in these states. I am not afraid, I am saying it. This new governor, His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara, should not do that. He should look for environmental managers and other earth scientists to populate that ministry. Because the reason is not difficult. When the appropriate person is there, having knowledge of what we are talking, he will not be running for his stomach. And every environmental manager has an allegiance to Mother Earth first, before any other consideration. And he knows who and who to assemble. He knows when to draw policy. Which policy for this one, policy for flood, policy for this, policy for that. And he will be able to walk around the clock and think beyond, outside the box to place some of these things. But when you begin to appoint, I have never seen where an environmental manager is appointed as Attorney General. We should begin to speak these things and speak it very loud. So I agree with Akanto completely. Now, the next thing, Insodin talked about our culture, attitudes. Yes, the campaign for attitudinal and behavioral change is key to environmental health. Attitude talks about your predisposition to doing a particular thing. Behavior is the actual commission of that event. When we begin to change, our attitude today is that if rain falls, bring all your debris and pour in the drainage. When these things begin to change, we'll be able to improve environmental health. So I also agree. Then Misha talks about in the policy. Let me explain something he mentioned that you probably may not know. He talks about Green Book.
Yes.
To use that is grammar. Green Book is the book of law on environment. That the Rivers State, they reviewed it the last time. The new one, the new edition is not out. After so many, in fact, the one that they have not brought out is even obsolete.
Okay, already obsolete.
Yes, it's obsolete.
Published.
I say it factually. They've not. Nobody has it. It's hidden. Don't know, but it's even obsolete. So the Green Book contains about the do's and don'ts, the standards and all that in different aspects of the environment, particularly when you're doing measurements and all that. Now, so I agree with him again. He also talked about appropriate persons being appointed. I agree with him. But Zion also talked about forum about collaboration. Who will initiate this forum? It is the commissioner. When we say the governor is all-knowing, it's not because the governor knows everything. It's when you appoint experts in various fields, they come to advise you and the governor becomes all-knowing. When it starts with the appointment of an expert and giving free hand, I repeat, not only the appointment of the expert, but giving the expert free hand to operate so that he will be able to form these collaborations. Before now, Pastor Shegun, the Ministry of Environment used to celebrate World Environment Day at a civic center. Today is not done again. You don't see people. Thank God that people like you, people like this Super FM are now taking up the responsibility of creating awareness. It's not done again. I don't know what may be their challenge. It could be money and the funding and all that. But let me say this. We cannot run away from collaborations because the advantages of collaborations and the advantages of creating these recycling things are much. I'll tell you something. Psalm 133 said, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." In local parlance, we say 2 good heads are better than 1. Now, if you go to James again, I will also want to use James. James 1:22. Yes, I'm rounding up, and that is my last listing. James 1:22 admonished us not to be just hearers of the word, but we should be doers thereafter. I am appealing to every Rivers man and woman. Environmental cleanliness starts from you. We can, the assembly, that the 10th assembly that are coming should do less of politics and think, so that all these pure water producers, all these bottled water producers, Coca-Colas, all those persons that produce plastics can come together and produce and place a plant, a recycling plant, in collaboration with the state, so that way it can help in so many ways. That's all I want to say.
Dr. Christian Otiasa, well, I would have loved to just keep listening to you, because you see, you're making so much point. And the truth, just like Sodi Makiagba said, what we are doing, the implication is for the generation to come. And again, I hope we understand it. But again, thank you so much for coming to Point Blank this morning to talk to us on the menace of plastic solution as the world gets to look at this issue on World Environment Day on Monday. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Christian Otiasa.
Pastor Shegu, you are a treasured person to me, and I mean it from my heart.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rivers people. God
And that's
you.
the much we're taking this morning on Point Blank. We do hope you enjoy every bit of it. Now, don't forget, Super FM has a new marketing studio where we have live shows, we have jingle production, and we have live interview. Actually, we should be entertaining a guest from the live studio any moment from now. And it is on Woji Road on the Basha axis of GRA. Just go over there, and it is strategically situated at Woji Road, and there you can do all business with us. You can do commercials, you can have jingles, and of course you'll be part of this very fantastic family, Super FM. Once again, it's been Point Blank this Saturday. Thank you for